Welcome to Work in Progress, Conversations with Creators. I'm your host, Logan Roy Speitman. On today's episode, I have with me Danny Burgos, who's a Broadway actor, musician, who's currently in the touring production of Moulin Rouge. We had a great conversation. It's very lively, interviewee, talking about musical theater and all kinds of stuff. I hope that you enjoy.
If you enjoy our podcast, please like and subscribe and consider becoming a digital subscriber to the Albuquerque Journal to help us bring you more content like this. You can find this episode and all of our podcasts on the Albuquerque Journal website, abqjournal.com, as well as YouTube, iTunes, and Spotify. See the show notes for a discount code on a digital subscription. Thank you for supporting the Albuquerque Journal, New Mexico's leading news.
Hi, Danny. Welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So you're currently starring in Moulin Rouge, the musical, which is touring all over. You're in Mexico right now. Is that right?
That is correct.
How's the tour going?
It's really great. Mexico has been really impactful just because, I guess they don't get shows of this size here. So the reception has been amazing. I guess we've been a little spoiled in the States because we're getting a reception here that is just remarkable.
Well, that's great. Yeah. And have you gotten a chance to explore it all, or you're just working?
Not really. Mexico City was pretty hot and heavy. We opened on a Wednesday and then we had 8 shows from there on out. And then Monterrey, we started on a Tuesday, but we've had 7 shows and it's just been go, go, go. So not much exploring, but it's a stunning place to be.
Yeah, have you ever been to Mexico before?
When I was really young, I went on a cruise with my parents, but it's been years since I've been here.
Yeah. Oh, that's exciting. Yeah. And I think I read, did you grow up in Hialeah?
Sure did.
Yeah, I'm from South Florida. I lived in Miami for a long time, which that's basically, a suburb of Miami, I guess, for those that don't know. So what was that like, growing up?
Great. I'm from a Cuban and Puerto Rican household, so it was very Latin growing up, Spanish spoken at home. My grandma, who passed away at 98, never spoke a word of English until the day she died. So I'm very grateful for that. I was in a bilingual program from kindergarten all the way up until 12th grade. So Spanish has always been a very integral part of my upbringing. And Miami, you're from South Florida, so you understand the culture there is just so rich and beautiful. It was an incredible place to grow up.
Yeah. And you're in New York now?
I'm in a storage unit. I packed everything into a storage unit and went on tour. I've been on tour for a little over 2 years now. So It's just been me and my 2 suitcases taking over the world.
What's that like? Do you enjoy that kind of always constantly on the move, or does it feel a little unsettled? And I don't know.
It is very unsettling. I am a homebody and I love having my things and a nice little place to call home, a nice little sanctuary. But it really is incredible. I've gone to, I think, 6 out of the 50 states. I've seen a lot of the United States. I've seen many national parks and sometimes repeats. And it's an incredible way to see the country. And a lot of people live here their whole lives and don't get to see coast to coast. So it is a really big blessing.
Is there anything that surprised you while you're on the road? Things that you didn't expect places. Sometimes, I haven't been to a place. I have my ideas about what it's like, and then I get there and maybe it's a little different.
The Grand Canyon National Park is by far one of my favorite places in the United States. I thought it was just going to be a big old hole in the ground. And I stood at the lip of the southern rim and I had to sit there for a second and just take it all in, because it is just a natural wonder. And the fact that it's just kind of sitting there and anyone can go at any point. It really is remarkable. It took my breath away.
Yeah, I that's one of the few trips that my family took when I was 7 years old. We went out west and we saw the Grand Canyon, and my dad held my hand. He said, because he wanted to make sure I wasn't scared, but he told me later it's because he was scared of falling in. But it was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so vast. It goes on forever. It goes straight into the horizon and then some. And I just didn't expect that, I don't think.
Yeah. So how'd you get into musical theater? Were you always into it, like as a kid, or what happened?
No, I had a teacher in 8th grade tell me that I was not drama material. And I was very, very scared ever since then. And I was actually an athlete in high school. I played tennis and I was taken under my mentor. His name is Andy Quiroga. He took me under his wing and said, "You have a beautiful voice and you have a natural ability to just tell a story. I think that you have a career in this." And I told him, I think you're wrong. So I went to school for nursing for 2 years. I
Right.
flunked out and decided that I wanted to give it a shot and auditioned for the musical theater program. And the rest was just kind of history. I always sang. I was just like singing in the shower, singing in church, just because I liked the way that it made me and others feel. And who knew it could turn into a career?
But you weren't like listening to soundtracks of musicals and stuff like I know some theater kids that's like their whole life and it wasn't really for you.
Yeah, no. When Mr. Q, I called Andy Quiroga Mr. Q. When Mr. Q introduced musical theater to me, he brought in a VHS tape of a live recording of Sweeney Todd starring George Hearn and Angela Lansbury. And when I saw that, I was like, what is this? I fell in love. Sondheim has always been very near and dear to my heart because of that moment. And I think that's when that started. 10th grade, I became like obsessed with musical theater. It was around the same time that the Rent movie came out.
Yeah.
And that Rent movie took the world by storm. It's when Phantom of the Opera came out. That's when musical theater kind of hit me. So Phantom of the Opera and Sweeney Todd are those two musicals, the big deep ones that like introduced me to the art form.
No, those are great ones, I think, to be introduced
Yeah.
to, I love Sondheim.
Oh,
Moulin Rouge is kind of on the other end of things, and
yes.
we're going to talk about that in a second. I love it too, but Sondheim, it's quite intellectual, very difficult to sing, right?
Yes.
Have you done any Sondheim? I wasn't sure.
I've never gotten the opportunity. That's a lie, actually. In college, we did Company.
Okay,
And
yeah,
Company is one of my favorites just because I'm 34 years old now. I'm about to turn 35. I'm a single man. I'm a bachelor just walking through the world. It really does hit me differently watching it now. All the songs and all like the story itself is very impactful. But yeah, like you said, Sondheim is very cerebral and very, the intricacies of his music add to the story, which is what I've always loved. And like you said, Moulin Rouge is the opposite side of the spectrum where we take pop songs and we make it work within our story. So I love how the two are just so different, but they both lend to this art form very beautifully.
and I think a lot of people probably know Moulin Rouge from the film, or they know the musical, but if not, it is, it's like a really kind of splashy, glitzy, fun, exciting. How would you describe it?
Yeah, so I always refer to Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet because that is very stereotypical Baz Luhrmann. If you've even seen The Great Gatsby,
Yeah.
it's very like larger than life, glitter everywhere. I take glitter home with me every night after the show. It is something that is just spectacular, and it is at its core a very simple love story. It is the love story that we know and love. Boy likes girl, boy can't have girl, boy goes for the girl anyway. And Baz and this entire creative team were able to take what we know and love from Baz Luhrmann films and translate them so beautifully to the stage without losing any of that grandness, any of that spectacular nature. So I always tell people that you're going to come to the theater expecting one thing and leave being like, wow, I didn't know that they could do it like that.
Yeah, yeah. Can you give an example? Like what? Like visually, what can people expect, or musically?
Yeah. So musically, it's everything that you know and love from the movie, but modernized, which is, I think, remarkable that they were able to take that story and just add new pop songs, infuse it with that little music of today. But when it comes to visually, research has shown that when a group of people get together in a theater to watch a piece of theater, their heartbeats start to sync. And
Oh,
I think,
I didn't know that. I haven't heard
yeah,
that.
so when people arrive in a theater together and watch a show, their heartbeats start to sync to the rhythm and to the beat of the music that they are watching. And I think because of that phenomenon, we're all witnessing. I mean, the lighting to me is one of the most beautiful things. It's almost like an assault on the senses, but the most beautiful moment, it's like my favorite moment. The reason I knew I wanted to be in this musical at the top of Roxanne, which for those of you who have seen the movie and love the movie and expect the movie, Roxanne is still in the musical. And Roxanne starts with myself, Nini, and Ziedler on stage in a pool of 3 spotlights. And it's so simple, so small. And then it goes from there into like a wash of red light on the stage, and the ensemble like seemingly comes out of nowhere. It is just like a sweeping, like it's just sweeping movement and sweeping lights, and you don't realize how big it is until that final button, and then all of a sudden you're in the Duke's apartment and you're like, wow, we just went from 3 different locations in a span of 3 minutes, and we were able to do it so effectively just with washes of light and sound. It's really stunning.
Yeah, that sounds incredible. I can't wait to see it. I think it's going to be great.
Yes.
Now, how do you balance like that kind of like the big spectacle and everything with like real human emotions? Because that's part of it too. And I think you do communicate real emotions with your voice and
Absolutely.
your acting.
Yeah, so it's all through the storytelling. I mean, thank you, Florida State University, for training, but it really is through just simple storytelling. And as long as you have effectively come to terms with your character, I mean, my character, Santiago, the swashbuckler, the greatest tango dancer in Paris, a gigolo, it's very easy to create a caricature of that. But I think due to the world, and again, when you think about the way that Baz Luhrmann builds a world, due to the world, larger than life actually does serve you here. So to be loud and to be fast and to be almost a caricature actually suits this world. To be too small, if you're giving me, Noel Coward and Shakespeare acting, that's just not the right thing. It's out of place. So to be too small would actually make you stick out more than to lean in and just really invest in being larger than life.
Yeah. So tell us more about Santiago, the character. So I mean the setting, it's like 1900 Paris, kind of turn of the
Mhm.
century, in Montmartre, in all the artists, bohemians, kind of wild, crazy young people, and who is Santiago?
So, Santiago is an Argentinian tango dancer who has found himself in Paris by way of trying to live that bohemian life. You don't get much of his backstory, but in my brain, Santiago has, left Argentina and come to Paris because at this point in 1899, at the turn of the century, if you wanted to be an artist, there was no better place to do it than Paris. And so he winds up at the Moulin Rouge because, I mean, the Moulin Rouge was the epicenter of art back then, art and dance and culture. And I mean, anyone who has seen a Lautrec, an Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec painting has witnessed how those paintings sort of just dance in and of themselves. And
Yeah,
that was
the can dancers and
yes.
all. Yeah.
And that was just very indicative of the time. So I think Santiago somehow found his way there and fell in love with a girl named Nini. And they play the whole cat and mouse game, will they or won't they? And my job, I was told by Alex Timbers and Maddie DiCarlo, our directors, is we each embody, the 4 bohemians, each embody one of the bohemian qualities, which is truth, beauty, freedom, and love. And my word is beauty. And that is not physical beauty. It's just physical beauty, the beauty of the time, the beauty that you can relay through art. I use my body in order to communicate how much I love this time period, this art form, the people around me. And so I take it as my responsibility to communicate that one bohemian ideal of beauty through art.
Yeah. And there's a song, Truth, Beauty, Freedom, Love,
Mm-hmm.
that comes kind of early in the musical. And this is kind of like a mashup or a medley of Royals by Lord,
Mm-hmm.
Children of the Revolution by T-Rex, which is a great old song I love, and We Are Young by the band Fun. And it's great kind of how these songs that I think have nothing to do with each other actually blend together really well. And some of the lyrics are changed. So, right.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I mean, maybe talk about that or just in general kind of how this musical, because they call it like a jukebox musical, but sometimes there's other jukebox musicals where it's like one, it's all Elvis songs or something. It's all kinds of songs from different time periods and different genres that somehow, get blended together. And I think that's a really interesting, kind of unique thing. I haven't really seen much of that.
It really is amazing. I mean, we know, like you said, we have And Juliet, which is all, I think, Max Martin songs.
Yeah.
We have Mamma Mia, which is all ABBA songs. Rock of Ages, which is all rock songs. But this musical it takes on the spectacular feat, which they did in the movie, of taking all pop music and saying, throw it at the wall. If it fits, it fits. And I love that you brought up Truth, Beauty, Freedom, Love, because it's the first time that the audience gets a hint into, oh, they modernized it. It's not everything from the movie. They updated it a bit. And our music team, Justin Levine and company, did such a great job. There are 70 plus songs in our show, and some are sampled for as little as 10 seconds. And they all lead to a progression of the story. What I love so much about Children of the Revolution is it is such a niche song. I wasn't familiar with it until I got to the musical. And then I was like, oh, wow, this is actually a pop song. And it's a pop song that other people are going to recognize. What I always tell people is, even if you hate musical theater, if you have never wanted to go to a musical a day in your life, you're going to go to this one and be like, oh, wow, they put that song in there. And you're going to leave singing a song that you have known and loved your whole life.
And I think it's like, you can go with your whole family, your grandma, your kids, whatever, and you're not all going to know all the same songs, but everyone's going to know some of the songs.
Yeah, my stepdad was the biggest success story, I think. He is not a musical theater goer at all, but the Duke has a great song called Sympathy for the Duke, and it's Sympathy for the Devil. And he's a big classic rock buff. And when he heard that song, he was like, no way. And it's the first thing he said when he walked up to me. He's like, they had Sympathy for the Devil in there? I was like, well, that was Act 1, and we've already been 2 hours away from there. You still remember it? We did our job.
Yeah. I love to sing Sympathy for the Devil by the Rolling Stones at karaoke. I think it's a great karaoke song.
Oh, great song.
Maybe, I don't know, but I like it. It's fun to perform,
Yeah.
And I think all the songs, have such great energy.
Mm-hmm.
And thinking about that time period and, the sort of young characters that are, have kind of high ideals and they're, well, I don't know, like like I still am a little bit like this, I guess, a little bit rebellious, a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
artistic, want to change the world and all, and I think that that's something we find in pop music throughout the ages, right?
Absolutely. And it's so interesting to have this like lively, rambunctious music on the backdrop of the tuberculosis outbreak.
Yeah.
So we reference consumption very often in our show, and consumption is tuberculosis for those who do not know. And it's interesting realizing how joyful and uplifting and loving this time period was. During the COVID pandemic, I went back to school and I became a registered nurse. And so I worked as a nurse for a year, and understanding what tuberculosis is, how it works, how much of a essentially death sentence it was back then, and the fact that art and culture was still able to push itself to the forefront of all of it is really remarkable. And they do a great job of telling that story at the same time, we're singing Bad Romance by Lady Gaga.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it is interesting. I guess, I think of like, I don't know if you're a fan of Gabriel Garcia Marquez, but like Love in
Yes.
the Time of Cholera.
Oh my Lord, yes. Yeah, it's like it's just like that. I mean, Love in the Time of Cholera, Rent. When you look at Rent, Rent was a cult classic, and it is a story built around the HIV and AIDS epidemic, and how these bohemians just wanted culture and art to survive amidst what was happening in their culture. It's a story that we tell time and time again, you know?
Yeah. And it's interesting having the perspective of, you're working in the medical field,
Mhm.
and that's unusual too. I mean, I don't know anyone else that's like a Broadway actor and also, has that
Yeah.
background.
There's a few of us. I believe there was one, I don't know his name, but there was an ensemble member in Once Upon a One More Time, the Britney Spears musical on Broadway, who similarly to me went back to school, became a nurse, and then booked Broadway. There's like a handful of us, and we all keep in touch.
But you've given that up now, right? This is your thing, or
The beauty of nursing is that it is always going to be there. And I say this a lot with the resurgence of AI, or like with the like coming of AI and stuff like that. There are very few things that I think you just need, or rather, there are a lot of things that I think you need a human touch for, nursing being one of them. It's just not the same if I were to walk into the room and say, "Good morning, I'm going to be your nurse today. How'd you sleep?" Or an AI bot walks in and is like, "Good morning." I think that nursing is just something that will always be with me. I want to care for people. I love caring for folks. And thankfully, the relationship that I have with the hospital that I left is that where I can just call and say, "Do you need a nurse?" And I'm available.
do you think that working with people in that way in a caring capacity um, has given you insight as an actor and performer?
Absolutely. I mean, I love to say, and a lot of my nursing colleagues hate when I say this, but I'll go ahead and say it. Nursing is customer service. Our patient is our customer, and it is our job to do our best to care for them. I firmly believe that everyone in the history of time should have a customer service job at least once in their lives. It helps you relate to people around you. It helps you have empathy. The simple fact that someone can come in missing an AirPod and think that it's the worst thing that has ever happened to them, but it's your job to kind of console them, lead them to a solution, and then lead them on their way. Taking that empathy onto the stage and relating not only to a character, but to the characters around you as well. I mean, the world has made me a better actor, just like acting has made me a better person. So, yeah.
Yeah. Now you've done a lot of things. You were in West Side Story. I mean, you've done many things. What's like one of your favorite roles?
I played Gomez Addams in the Addams Family,
Yeah.
and it is, I mean, I grew up watching Addams Family Values, and I was obsessed with Raul Julia. And when I got the opportunity to play Gomez, it was so unique because I got to bring my own culture to the show. I got to because everyone knows that Gomez Addams is Latino, but it's like, what really is he? This whole family is kind of just a melting pot of everything. And that's what makes them so special. I got to bring a lot of myself to that character, and I just got to have a good time and be silly and funny. And if there's one thing I love, it's putting smiles on people's faces. It brings a smile to my own. So I really enjoyed playing Gomez. It was such a good time.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. And that's kind of, I mean, I think the Addams Family, Sweeney Todd, I mean, some of these, kind of your favorite ones, it's like mixes this sort of, I don't want to say horror, but it's like
Yes.
comedy, but there's like a little bit of darkness in it,
It's a little macabre.
yeah, macabre, I guess is the word. Yeah. And so, I mean, I like that kind of stuff too.
Mhm.
That's pretty cool. What would be like a role, are there any roles that you really have in your mind, like, oh, I hope I can do that someday, or?
My dream is to play Hamilton in the musical Hamilton. it is such a beautiful retelling of American history. I remember when it first came out, I believe in 2015, everyone all of the sudden was buying Hamilton biographies and getting in touch with what it meant to be the Secretary of Treasury and all this stuff. And it was an incredible phenomenon that just made people interested in history in a way that I've never seen before. And all through rap music and hip hop music. And it was an incredible story. And I loved sitting there and just, again, the way that I described Moulin Rouge being like an assault on the senses, that's exactly what Hamilton was too. And it was 3 hours of rap and hip hop just being thrown at you, and somehow you followed it. And I thought it was beautiful the way that they said, this cast of colorful folks, it will be playing our founding fathers. We are going to suspend disbelief and come with us on the story. And it was a hit. And I think it would be an incredible opportunity to just be a small part of that show's history. Hamilton has always been my dream role ever since it came out.
Hopefully you'll get a chance to do that someday. I think, it seems like it would be perfect for you.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how much time we've got here, but I did want to ask a little bit about like some of the challenges of doing what you do. Like I see people performing these Broadway musicals. You're jumping around on the stage. It's very active. And I think, like, how are you not out of breath? Like, how can you keep singing and sounding good?
Well, the secret is we are very out of breath. Yeah. Since joining this, I've dropped a lot of weight, and it's not because I tried. A lot of it is just because this is a workout. We really are getting a workout in. This is our cardio for the day. And so I think staying in shape outside of the show really sets us up for inside the show. What people see is just 2 hours of our day, but they don't see the other 10 hours leading up to the show. And so we wake up early and we do vocal warm-ups and we exercise and we try to get as much sun as we possibly can. And we really do have to take care of our bodies. The ensemble of this show works so hard. They show up at the theater sometimes 2 hours before they have to be on stage just so that they can get a warm-up in. And even then, they have to warm up and then do a pre-show. So when you come into our show, there's a bunch of ensemble members on stage, like introducing you to the world of the musical. And then they got to go backstage and re-warm up. So it really is about like making sure that our stamina is kept up. And I love to say that people see 2.5 hours of our day, but they don't see the 10 hours leading up to what we have to give.
Yeah, so you're really like training. I mean, it's like you're artists, but you're also athletes.
Absolutely. Yes.
And I think, probably some people don't realize that, but it's, and that's good insight, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Now you've been on the road with the same people for how long now with this?
A little over 2 years.
Yeah. So you've gotten to know each other pretty well, I guess.
Very well. And it's always sad. We have a lot of comings and goings, and people book other jobs or they just go start families. And it is very interesting having this revolving door of people coming in and out of this world. And somehow it always is a perfect fit. It is truly incredible what this casting and creative team does, that they just happen to find all the right people to do the right jobs.
Well, and it seems like you're still enjoying it.
Oh, yes, I do love it. It is a gift. It's an honor to get to do what I love as a career. I'm sure you know that you're like, you're living out a small dream of yours, or maybe the biggest dream of all. And so it really is a gift to be told, like, you get to do this and it's your job for as long as you will have it. It's not lost on me how lucky I am.
Yeah, no. And I feel the same way I've never had a better job. I get to talk to cool people like you every day, someone different, and what's better than that? So I think it's good to remember, to be grateful for what we have,
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, this was really wonderful, and thank you so much for spending the time with me. This is really delightful. Thank you.
Of course, thank you for having me. It's been a blast.